Hello and welcome to this course on Carcassi's Opus 60 number 7. This is such a fun piece to practice. It's so nitpicky with all of the it's fast, allegro. It's just a barrel of monkeys and a barrel of laughs. So I hope that you enjoy this course. I hope you enjoy playing this piece, and I hope that you gain some great skills that you can take then forward into everything else that you play. So this is how we'll do it. In this video, we're going to talk about the form. We'll take a look at the piece from a big bird's eye view of it, and then we'll talk about how we're going to go about learning it and playing it. And then in the next coming videos, then we'll dial into a couple of specific things, and then we'll go practice section by practice section through the piece note by note. So that's the game plan. So this is our full score. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to take a look at the big picture. What's going on? What's our form? Like what are we working with here? What are we dealing with here? You probably know the piece. You've either heard me play it or you've sight read through it yourself. And with either of those, and you can kind of start to figure out the issues of what's going on. So first off, we're just going to look at the basics. What's our time signature? We're in 4/4, common time, 4/4, 4 beats per measure. It looks like we have 16th notes happening a lot. We have the word allegro up here. Allegro means fast, and there's a second meaning, which means you should probably memorize this. It doesn't really mean that, but it kind of does. It moves so fast, you're not going to have time to sight read it. So if you don't memorize it, chances are you'll slip up and you won't be able to actually play it smoothly at tempo, which is generally fast. So as you're going along, memorize it. And there's a bonus to that, because if you have the intention of memorizing it, you'll learn it faster anyway, even if you don't really care if you memorize it or not, or if you don't need to be off score or anything like that. You can still learn faster by telling yourself, I need to memorize this. I'm going to test myself on it. Your brain perks up and you learn it faster. So memorize this piece. As we go through the practice sections, as we go through each little thing, stop, look away from the music, and then repeat it a couple of times from memory. Look back, make sure you're right, do it again, that sort of thing. Moving forward, this is the end. If we just glance through a piece of music, we can normally see some landmarks. And as we're looking through here, we're going along, here's something different, right? And it doesn't mean that we have to analyze the chords and all that kind of stuff to figure this out. We can just see that there's space right here, right? There's a rest, there's single note lines, which is different than what we have been having. So this is a different spot, and this is the end of the A section. So this is a big A section. That means that this is the B section. And so then we tool along here, tool along here, tool along here, until the end. And so then that's the big end, right? But actually, we do, and I'm just going to tell you this, you can't necessarily see this at first glance, but you'd hear it. At this point right here, we go back to the A section again. It's not exactly the same, but it starts off the same. So it's the first, that's the same. It stays the same for a while. So we can call it A prime is what that means. So then it's like A, but it's not quite A. So then because this repeats, our overall form then is A, and then it repeats A, and then we play B, which is this big section right here, and then we have A prime, and then that repeats. So then B again, and then A prime again. So A, B, A prime, B, A prime is our overall form on that. And why should you know this? Just to know what's going on. That way, whenever you're playing the piece, you know where you are in the large scope of things. If you're at the beginning of the B section the first time, you know that you've got a long way to the end of the piece, and you've got a long way to the end of the big section and everything. So it's just good to know. Looking closer, we can see that even in the first measure, we have a tremolo. So we have a bass note and then AMI on 3 of the same note. And so that is a tremolo. That's a right hand technique, and we'll talk about that. This isn't a tremolo course, but we will talk about some tremolo in the right hand tips video, and so we'll talk a little bit about that. Tremolo is a study yeah, we'll talk about it more, but it's a whole thing unto itself. And then we have these arpeggio patterns. So if we just look here, we can see, okay, this is just an arpeggio pattern. It's broken chord with the notes bouncing around. Then we go up through here through some scale stuff right here. Looking through again, same stuff, same stuff. We have our arpeggios and our tremolo. So tremolo, arpeggio, tremolo, or I'm sorry, arpeggio. Here's some more tremolo. So we can just look through, oh, and here we have something different. We start some scale stuff right here. And so then we can look and say, okay, this is different. And this goes on for all the way to right there. So, and it's a whole different thing than that. So really we could have called this a C section, but we can also just think of it as part of the big B section. So the second part of the B section. So however we name it, we just know where we are in the piece with it. It's the second half of the B section, is this scale type stuff. And then we go back to the A section. So, and then the little thing at the end, just like up here. So that's the grand overview of the piece. In the next video, we will jump into talking about how to practice it, how to go about learning it, and then we'll go from there. See you there.